Hey guys, it's Caleb here. Welcome back to another video. And quite frankly, it's been a long time since I've done like a style like this. Just haven't really had much of, of any ideas of like what to do as far as like these personal kind of informative videos. But lately I've gotten a little bit of inspiration and cool ideas as far as speedrunning content goes, where I want to make some videos and they should be pretty interesting. I've done a lot of thought and thinking, and yeah, I think it's about that time for me to kind of go into like speedrunning content and stuff like that. But today's video is actually going to be on Final Fantasy VII. Now, if you guys watched the previous video where I got my sub 7 run, which is a huge deal. If you haven't watched it, it's the second sub 7 run in Final Fantasy speedrunning. Of course, Zeal got his first. That's world record at the time. But I got mine, and getting that sub 7 run is absolutely crazy. Like, I broke down at the end, you guys saw, and but if you haven't seen it, you guys gotta go watch it. It's pretty crazy. But anyway, getting a run like that, as far as like in speedrunning, there are runs that are just so mind-bogglingly hard to get. And getting a sub 7 in that category of Final Fantasy VII is insane. And I've done like a lot of thinking about it, and it was just like, man, it really is crazy to like think about how all this stuff has to come together in order for a run like that to even be possible. And we're gonna go over like how like crazy it is. The impossible speed run, quick bait, whatever it is, But anyway, let's get down to it. So, when it comes to speedrunning the game, like there's tons of RNG and obviously like mistakes that can be made in like a run that's like 7 hours plus long, right? But the main one is like RNG. You can make some mistakes, and of course there are like some mistakes that you can make that like outright kill the run like altogether. But we're gonna go over like the probability of all these things happening. The RNG, for example. First fight in the game, when you get off the train, like that first fight, your ATB can either be like really high or low, and what that does is you'll get an extra attack like in before the guards can, or if you don't, and that can cost you 5 seconds right there. So like right at the beginning of the run, you can already gain or lose 5 seconds. So like there's that. But then, every one of these like videos that you've seen, like, me, the highlights and stuff like that, you see like the whole battle skip stuff, that's just like hitting pause on like a particular point, and that saves like, 10, 12 seconds or something. That's not a major deal, but I mean, that little stuff does add up, and that's what speedrunning is all about, right? And at the end of the run, let's say you like do finish a run like this, and it's like, 7 hours and 10 seconds. It's like, well, shit, it's like, if I did this one thing right, or this one mistake that I didn't, let's say if I didn't make that mistake, it would have gotten sub 7, or like, whatever time you're going for. It's like, damn, it's kind of crazy how over a long stretch of time, that one little tiny thing that didn't go right, or you messed up on, like, completely nullified your goal time or whatever. But anyway, that's enough talk about that. So there are 2 fights in the reactor that you can get away quickly from, and that costs time. But the main one here in reactor is Guard Scorpion. It's a very RNG based fight. It can kill the run, or not. It can cost a lot of time, but like really what you're trying to do is like farm for a good time whenever you get out of the reactor, and you want a specific time or whatever, and that can take a lot of resets, honestly, because like you can get some really bad luck. Sometimes it can not take you that long. But anyway, like there's the guard skip. If you fail that, like you have to reset, or if you do it slowly, it can cost you time. Then there's like other stuff in the run too. For example, like other fights in the run, there's a lot of them. And that's the quick escapes, or the escapes that take a long time to like get away from, those add up like more than anything in the run. And like it wouldn't seem that way, but like let's say you take like 5 or 10 seconds just to get away from one fight. Like that's a long time versus like getting away quicker or instantly or something. And that's where, you know, it's just that's really what you want in a speedrun. But like Reno, the fight there, he can stun you if you electromagnetic rod. He can get off extra attacks. He can also pyramid like another person, and that right there, we're already like 40 minutes into the run, and like there's so much there's so much in the run that has potential to go wrong. But it's crazy, right? If you think about it, there's so much luck that has to go well for you to even get like a decent time up to this point. And we're not even really to like the bulk of it. But then after like Reno, you go back, and a huge time loss is the red dudes. I call them the red dudes, you know, like red grunt soldiers or whatever. But like these guys, they can do attacks, and each one is like 4 to 5 seconds, and I've seen them attack like 4 times. Ideally, you don't want them to attack at all, but that's like really lucky. Like you're not really going to see that often. But that 4 attack thing that I just talked about, that's like almost 20 seconds that you lose on that one fight, and it's such a small little fight, dude. You know, it's really crazy. And then like the sample fight too, you know, like you can have the guys like go, you know, attack them, and he sends off in the shady breath and stuff like that. You can lose so much time like on that fight. And then of course there's Heligunner. If you put somebody to sleep, you know, that's really bad, you know, then he gets off an extra attack, and then that's slow. Rufus, he can laugh. You know, that costs like 5 or 6 seconds in itself. Motorball, he can attack either 2, 3, or 4 times. Each attack costing like another 4 or 5 seconds or something. You know, it's just crazy how much stuff like adds up. Like where you need to get like a good time. But then when you get out of it, there's world map encounters that you can get into, and each encounter in the run is like maybe 15, 16 seconds on average. So if you get like really bad world map RNG, you know, you can lose like a lot of time, right? In the Calm cutscene, there is the red dragon. There's the fight with the dragon. If like the red dragon decides to hit Cloud, Sephiroth can life 2 Cloud, and that each one of those is like 12 seconds. That can get pretty bad. I have seen 6 of those in a row, and that's like 1 minute and 40 seconds lost. It's ridiculous. But let's not get too far into that. But anyway, at this point, you're approaching the 2-hour mark, roughly. Something like that. But after you get to the cutscene, you know, you got to mess with the Zalem. He can be really, really trolly. He can just like go bling, 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 you know, just bounce around, stuff like that. And you might have to like get an encounter to reset his position. That costs time, obviously. Going through the Mithril Mines, you know, like get more world map encounters. But these have been like not so much like minor time losses or time saves that in the run, because like Midgar is like pretty. There's just a lot of different stuff, but like now we're getting to like the major things. Notably, Bottom's Well. Bottom's Well needs to be poisoned. Now, for poison to stick on a target, it's a roughly about 48%, and if you have seen my most popular YouTube video, it's over 1 million views at this point, you would know that I've got pretty bad luck with poison. But anyway, each one is like 48%, right? You need Bottom's Well to get poisoned on the minimum of 4th try, because then that means he will not get a second attack off, nor will another character die. That's super slow. First try poison is obviously the best you can get. 4th try can cost you like 40 to 50 seconds, maybe a minute. It's obviously very slow. So these are like some major time losses. We're gonna get into the boss fights, right? Up to this point, this is like the 2-hour mark in the run. We've talked about so many things in the run that have to go well for you to get like a decent time up to this point. And then you have to rely on more RNG, a 48% chance roughly that you need to potentially, you may not even get it. Like I've gotten Bottom's Well, like I've fought him, not even 1 poison at all. And like that's obviously run dead, because that's just way too much time loss, and you don't really have enough grenades at that point to continue the run. But yeah, it can get pretty crazy whenever you think about this. Like, damn, it almost seems like it's impossible for like, you need to win the lottery for something like that, for something like this to even go well. But after that, there's the parade minigame where the commands he's got to input, you got to hit square and, you know, X and stuff like that. You know, that's a little RNG too. Genova Birth does have some RNG for sure. I wouldn't put that as a major one though. You can lose some time though, based on her attacks. But then after that, you have I can't even talk. More world map stuff where you have to go, and then you got a ton of fights that, like, again, escape quickly, or, you know, it takes a long time to escape from, stuff like that. But then after that, another major split is on the bridge. You can steal a right arm. That is a 7% chance, roughly. You have 2 opportunities because you will get 2 fights on the bridge with bombs, and each one of those steals is 7%. I have had 2 runs in my life, I believe, where I've gotten both double first try right arm steals. That saves like a lot of time, notably 30 seconds on dying, because you don't have to like continuously throw Molotovs at them. But again, like, this is crazy how much these low probability things like have to like work. It's just nutty. And then you have to get into a fight with a claw. The 2 claw fights where you have to manip them. And the manip chance, I want to say, is maybe like 60%. It's not that low, but it's still... I failed it like 8 times in a row. And you can just imagine like all the time loss that you have there. And then you fight Dyne, and then you can die to Dyne too, because like he can crit you like multiple times. It's just super unlucky. And that's like a really low chance for you to die, but it can happen. And then you got to go to the beach plugs, and then you have to get into the encounter with the beach plugs. Sometimes you can get this like egg guy, and it loses like an entire minute. It's annoying. But then after that, like, you have to also manip the beach plugs. That usually goes okay, but again, like, you can get really terrible luck. Then you have to do Cosmo Canyon skip. If you want a tutorial on how to do Cosmo Canyon skip, hey, go to my Ff7 speedrun tutorial. You'll learn all about it there. And then you have to do that, and then you have to like make sure to not mess up, because if you do, run's dead. Then you have to fight Materia Keeper. If you want to see some really bad luck in Materia Keeper, just go to my most popular YouTube video. You will see exactly what I was talking about with the bad RNG on Poison. That, I believe, I've missed it 13 or 14 times, which it was like less than 1% for that to even happen. It was crazy, dude. And after that, you have more poison luck with Palmer. And again, you know, there was a run a couple days ago. I lost about a minute and a half because I wasn't able to poison. So like, that's terrible. After that, you have to go up to Corel. You have more world map stuff, which is RNG. And then you have to go back. Then we get into the Temple of the Ancients. This is where it gets kind of meatier, right? You have to fight Red Dragon. And Red Dragon is not usually a major time loss. It usually goes okay. But you have to have Red Dragon hit Cloud, because what that does is gets him limits so he can cross slash and start death blowing, death blowing, death blowing. But he can continuously hit Kate Sith in that fight, and that just like is awful, because when Cloud's hypered, he has a pretty decent chance to miss, and he can just whiff, 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 and it's just, again, I lost like another minute to that stupid shit like a few days ago. But then you have Demon's Gate right after that. Demon's Gate is awful. Critical hits, critical demon rushes, bad dice rolls. Everything that you can imagine in that fight can go wrong, and probably will. But if it doesn't, hey, great. So there's that. We are approaching 4 hours at this point, and we've battled RNG, like, and menuing and all this stuff. And it's just like, when you think about how much stuff needs to go well for this speedrun to even be possible, it just doesn't even seem possible. Like, my chat, so they're just like, dude, you need to like win the lottery to even get a run going. I'm like, I know. But then after that, you have to fight Genova Life. Genova Life can do an Aqualung. Aqualung doesn't kill the run, but it can lose you a lot of time for sure. And if that happens, that just kind of sucks. You just have to eat it. You can do the backup strat and then like do it that way. But the opening with Aqualung is definitely a slap in the face. It's like, damn, that's unfortunate. So after that, we get to Disc 2, and Gaia's Cliff is quite a bit of RNG. We do have a really big stretch on the world map with a going to Icicle in. You can get multiple encounters, like if you're really lucky, you'll get 1. If you're really unlucky, you might get like 3 or 4. So like that right there is like pretty big. But then when you get into Gaia's Cliff, like actually, you have like a lot more random battles that you have to deal with. So then you're kind of going through, and then you have to learn Magic Breath off of the Stilva. That Stilva, it can either open with Magic Breath, which is like in the ideal, or it can take like 3 or 4 turns to do it. So you're like, that's not a huge time loss or whatever. What is a big time loss though is whenever you're spiting the icicles, because they're bats in that fight. They can do ultrasound or attack, and then like there are 4 of them each in each fight, and there's 3 fights where you have to do it. So it's like 12 bats. If you do your math correctly, quick maths, that's like 12 potential attacks that these bats can get off. That can be like 40 to 50 seconds almost. Usually it doesn't happen, but yeah. But then after the icicle fights, you have to fight Schizo. Schizo can be pretty rough. Fortunately, with, you know, recent strats and stuff like that, it's not as bad anymore. But you do have to land at least like 2 death blows, 2 or 3. And if you don't, that really sucks, dude. That really, 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 really blows. Because then you have to like lose a lot of time to do like some backup strats, which it just sucks. You might have to cast Big Guard again, and that's just super slow. But then after that, this is where the run kind of gets a little chill. Like it kind of steps back. It's like, all right, dude, I must stop. I must stop screwing you over. Because then you have to fight Genova Death, and Genova Death is not too bad. You can lose like up to 20 seconds in that fight, so it's not too bad. It's just annoying, right? But again, like at the beginning of the video, like I said, all these like time saves and time losses, they add up. So it's like, you know, 20 seconds, yeah, it doesn't really, yeah, but like if you're already behind and you lose 20 more seconds, you're already like salty at that point. You're like, damn, fuck this run, I want to reset it. But then after that, like you have a ton of mashing that you have to do, because like, you know, you're on the ship and you get captured and all that stuff. You just have to mash a lot. You got some fights again, you know, quick runaways or slow runaways, and then you have to do the shop, and then you have to do the train fights, right? So those aren't like major time saves or time losses at that point, but the train fights do have some RNG. Like if characters get silenced and stuff, you have to use echo screens and then like heal them and stuff. But it's usually pretty consistent at that point. And then afterwards, you have the live stream. So the live stream is like more mashing and stuff. But getting to the big bad enemy guy, Karen Armor, or Karen Armors, what chat likes to call him now. But as you go through, right, you have more fights to do. But then when you approach Carry Armor, okay, now get this. This is probably the craziest thing that I've witnessed, like whenever I started speedrunning FF7. So it's like when Carry Armor opens the fight, he has I think a 20% chance to open with Lapis Laser, right? And that's that big like Fire Laser attack. However, there's like another super small percent chance that he can do another attack with the body, which also is another Lapis Laser. And that turns out to be an 8% chance. An 8% chance for a double Lapis Laser to happen. If a double Lapis Laser happens on Carry Armor, there is nothing you can do. You die 100%. Nothing you can do. You might be like, well, Quabe, dude, you can heal. No, you can't heal if you're dead, buddy, okay? I guess you can save if you're interested in losing 6 minutes if you're a scrub runner. But anyway, 8% chance for your run to just outright end at a 6-hour mark, roughly, in a speed run. That sucks. And this has happened to me, like whenever I was trying to get sub 7, there was some force out there, I don't know what it was, but this happened to me 5 or 6 runs in a row. I shit you not, it was nuts. We're just like, dude, there's no way it can happen this run, dude. And it kept happening. It kept happening, and I almost gave up and then like other runners, and they were just like, dude, this is honestly like nuts. And I was like, yeah, I know. But carry armor itself, the RNG is not very friendly, because again, like a double lapis is super scary, because what you have to do is you have to like big guard and then death blow and then heal, and then it's kind of like make good judgments at that point. Or sometimes he just doesn't laser at all. I've literally had a fight one time where he didn't do anything. He seriously did not attack one time. He just sat there and just bounced around and was like, cool, dude, that's interesting. And then the 8% chance like happens. It's just crazy to me. But after your fight carry armor, you're like, okay, your heart's beating a little bit, and then you have some more fights and stuff. But then after that, you have to go to Rocket Town, and then there's the Rocket Town section with Rude, and some of those fights can cost you some time. It's not too bad though. But another big one, is Diamond Weapon. So Diamond Weapon is pretty terrible, because you have to land at least 3 death blows, or 2 or 3 death blows with Tifa. And if you get really, really, really unlucky, you can just lose your run, and then Diamond Weapon just takes a shit all over you, and it's very, very annoying. Or he focuses Tifa, and there's also nothing you can do about that too, because you have to keep her at crit health for her to deal like the proper amount of damage for you to like continue the run. So it's like super scary. And again, at this point, you might be thinking like, dude, is it even possible? You might be questioning like, damn, is it even possible for this run to be like done? And well, yeah, but barely. But then after that, fortunately, when you are done with Diamond Weapon and you're ahead on your run, you're probably going to PB at that point. There are some things, of course, that can go wrong. Whenever you're going into the Northern Crater, I mean, you have like more death blow RNG that you have to worry about, like whenever you fight Hojo, but your run's not gonna die necessarily in that fight, unless you end up like hitting yourself, which I've done before. It was pretty funny. Not really. But when you go into the Northern Crater, like you do have some more fights you have to deal with, but like a big one is Final Descent encounters. Final Descent encounters are for the most part random. We have figured out how to manipulate to get 0, but that's like a whole nother video that I don't even know if I want to do. If you want me to do that video, leave in the comments below, I guess, and I will do it. Sure, I'll give you like this novel of knowledge that you probably aren't interested in hearing. However, random encounters in the Final Descent, you can get a ton, or you can get 0, or you can get 1, 2, each fight is like 20 plus seconds. It does cost a lot of time, but when you get down, you gotta do some menuing. Absolute Genova is not too bad, but then you get to Bizarro Sephiroth. That fight can be bad, because again, if he decides to target Tifa, and those attacks end up hitting her, that is really bad, because she might die in that fight. And then if that happens, just Caleb Hart 42 is offline, But then that's usually okay, because the misstyle, what that does is provide her a ton of evasion. So she's usually okay by that point. However, the thing is with Safer Sephiroth is that, like, whenever you get to this point, you can't really lose the fight unless, like, you don't know what you're doing. No matter what happens on that fight, if you execute it properly, even if Tifa gets shadow flared, you can still recover. It just costs you like 20 plus seconds, because you have to revive her, and then you have to get her back up and cast Big Guard again. Then he goes up, which that animation takes a long time. That did happen, actually. This is a good example of one of those things. So back before another YouTube video that we had, the 7 hour and 5 second PB, at the very end of that run, that exact thing that I just talked about where Tifa got shadow flared, that happened. And that cost me the sub 7 run. It's crazy, man. Like one little thing at the end of the run, that's what did it. That's what cost me. So yeah, I mean, after that, it's like, the run's pretty much over. If you want to lose like 13 seconds to doing Omni Slash, that's cool. I respect that. But yeah, I mean, yeah, you just need to have like all that shit go pretty well. That's not a big deal. Just have like everything go well, and then you can actually successfully speedrun FF7. So, but it is crazy to think about like how much stuff is in the run, and it also like needs to go really well. So thinking about that like really made me want to make this video and like explain to people like this impossible speedrun explained. That's pretty much it. Yeah, I do have more speedrunning content ideas that I do want to put on the channel, and I think you guys are gonna like it. I'm gonna definitely make fun. Jesus, I'm gonna have a lot of fun like making these videos. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Again, if you are interested yourself in picking up FF7 for speedrunning, I do have a YouTube video. I do have a tutorial for it. It'll be... But anyway, like, comment, subscribe, all that good shit. Have a good night, morning, afternoon, wherever you happen to be, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good one.